Yeah, so I was in Finding Neverland on Broadway, and
Okay.
so, at the time, it was Thanksgiving, and the Obamas were in, the office at that time, and they obviously supported the arts a lot. So on top of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, they also did a Broadway at the White House on Thanksgiving. And we went and performed for the Obama's family and, so many other incredible people.
The Young Entertainment Podcast. The Young Entertainment Podcast.
Okay, here we are. Ooh, I have butterflies. I'm excited for this one. We
I
have
know,
a
right?
guest. You guys, welcome to the Young Entertainment Podcast. My name is Daniella. This is my co-host, Mordechai. And today we have a very special guest with us on our podcast, Eli. Eli, welcome to the show.
Oh my goodness, thanks guys for having me.
Yeah, we're so excited. Can you please help us out? Pronounce your last name for us.
I always say it's like foot money because it's Eli Tokash, like, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's just my silly little saying.
I was like, where are we going with this? Okay, so low key, Eli, my maiden last name is Pupa.
Oh my gosh.
P-U-P-A. So I feel like we're kind of in the same boat where maybe like in school we got made fun of like a little bit for our last names. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think anybody really cared when I went to school, but I don't know. Maybe I'm
Yeah,
wrong.
yours isn't as bad as mine.
Right. No one knew how to pronounce my name. I was actually always called Ellie, so I would get made fun of more for Ellie more than Tokash, my last name. But every first day of school, every teacher was like, "Oh, Ellie, I'm not even gonna try it," and I was like, "Yeah, that's probably me. Both are wrong."
It's probably me. Well, and you know what? I would not think Tokash was funny until you described it the way that you said it. And you probably weren't saying that in elementary school. Okay, so little icebreaker, Mordechai. Mordechai, he's here with us. Of course, duh. He's a big part of Young Entertainment. He is the founder of Young
Yeah.
Entertainment, but also our incredible producer who lines up all of these interviews with these fabulous stars. Okay, so little icebreaker, since Eli and I have shared, I don't know, a little intimate growing up, what that was like. Mordechai, were you ever like made fun of for anything growing up, or do you have any moments like that?
Actually, it's really funny you say that because you're talking about names. So like my name, Mordecai, like I was in pastry school and for whatever reason, like the chef decided to call me Mortiki one day as like I don't know where he got Mordecai and Mortiki, but like yeah, Mortiki was just like, and then people like throughout the year, like people or whatever, the 6 months, it was like more like Mortiki just like stuck because people were just like, that's kind of weird that he said that, and it just kind of like as like a kind of like a inside joke for the team or whatever. I know.
Honestly, though, that's cute.
It's-
Mortiki. I kind of like that.
Same. I thought it was cute too.
That reminds me of like at Disneyland. Why do all our conversations, me and Mordecai, all of our conversations end
totally.
up talking about Disneyland? But like, what was that attraction? They don't have it anymore,
Tiki
do they?
Room?
The Tiki Room?
Oh,
do they
yeah.
still have that?
Definitely in Orlando. I don't know about the one. I don't know about LA, but definitely in Orlando. I think it's right near. Wait, in LA, I think it's right near Jungle Cruise, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, I'm
that
so sad that I
possible?
missed that on my last trip because I just remember it from when I was younger. But oh my gosh, so fun. Okay, Eli, we need to give you a proper introduction here.
Oh dear.
Because not only are you an interviewer for Young Entertainment and you interview so many of our fabulous stars, you also have quite the performance repertoire resume yourself. So here, I'm gonna read your bio, okay? This
Oh,
is all about
goodness.
Eli. So that the audience can get to know Eli. And I feel like our audience who loves musical theater, who has an interest in Broadway, they are going to learn so much from you today. And they're just going to be so excited to hear about all things Eli. So, and correct me if I'm wrong on any of these facts, okay? But Eli grew up in a small town in West Virginia where his love of performing started at home, creating characters, singing, and acting in skits with his siblings. While he spent much of his childhood traveling with his ice hockey team and playing various sports, everything changed when he saw his older sister, Tessie, perform at the Pittsburgh Civic Light Opera. Inspired by her, Eli decided to take the stage himself, landing roles in A Christmas Carol and Oliver at PCLO. Determined to pursue his passion, Eli began traveling from West Virginia to New York City for auditions. NYC. On his very first audition in the city, he booked the role of Michael Banks in the national tour of Mary Poppins. Okay, first audition. Since then, he's performed in 5 Broadway and touring productions, taken part in multiple readings, starred in over 10 professional productions, and appeared in several films and TV shows. His talent has earned him 2 award nominations, and he's had the honor of performing at iconic venues like MetLife Stadium, Madison Square Gardens Theater, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, Carnegie Hall, and even the White House. OMG. I didn't know we were sitting with like a superstar here. This is so exciting. So, okay, was that accurate? Do we nail it?
Yeah, I mean, hey, great read, because if I tried to read that, I would stumble at every other word. But yeah, that was the story. I always joke around, especially nowadays, where I'm like, that was such another person, because that all happened like before puberty hit. So like,
Really?
yeah, and so now with the voice change, it's like I'm a new human, new talent, new instrument, and I'm like still trying to figure it all out. But it's been a process and it's been a journey, and I'm grateful and super thankful and super lucky for all the opportunities that have presented itself so far. So
Yeah, and before we jump in and start asking you questions about all that, because oh my gosh, so exciting. Mordechai, can you tell me how you scouted Eli as talent for Young Entertainment? How did you guys connect?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was just kind of like, I'm like very Broadway oriented. Like all my reels and TikToks are all like that. And basically, like, I came across one of Eli's, he does this podcast called Take a Bow, and it's pretty great. He talks with like really great talent, and I loved what I saw, and basically reached out and said, "Hey, do you wanna interview more talent for Young Entertainment?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." And I was like, "Great." And that was pretty much it. And it was just like it's really, and honestly, like I've been really happy ever since, and we've gotten some great interviews and stuff, so it's amazing.
Oh my gosh, so cool.
Yeah.
Okay. What a great connection. What a great intro. I love that. So really quick, just need to ask you, this isn't even really in our notes, but you performed at Madison Square Gardens Theater. Can you tell us just like a little bit about that?
yeah, so now I actually think it's called the Who Theater at Madison Square Garden, because they got it like sponsored. But they have a theater attached to their world's famous arena, in that venue, and it's like a 5,000 seat venue. It's like the biggest theater in New York City. Um, and so I did a residency there, Christmas Story. It's not technically labeled Broadway. If you ask the cast that did that production, we say it was Broadway, because it's bigger than every Broadway house. It's literally 5 Broadway theaters in one. So it's pretty impressive. It's a pretty impressive venue. So it was an unreal experience.
Oh my gosh, so cool. Sometimes Mordecai and I will joke around about like Madison Square Garden. Like when we get views on a video, I'm like, how many Madison Square Gardens is that? Like how many people just saw our video? And if any influencers or creators watching, I don't know if you've seen, like sometimes people will be like, oh, my video only got 10,000 views or whatever, only got 50,000 views. It's like, okay, well, how many? That's like quite a lot of people in a theater if you think about it.
100%. It's crazy because like you grow up, especially like as a kid in the entertainment industry, and like now in the days of social media, it's like all of our favorite performers are performing at Madison Square Garden. I grew up around a very sport centric family, so like the Knicks play there, the Rangers play there, like everyone that was like in anything that I paid attention to was Madison Square Garden affiliation of some sort. So being in that building was like a dream come true, and it's so true. Like it's crazy, I guess the world fascination with Madison Square
Yeah,
Garden. Like everybody knows Madison Square Garden, it's such a
totally.
cool experience and venue.
Eli, you were on Broadway. We need to know what that was like. We need the details. We need the behind the scenes. We need the tea, especially for someone like me or our audience out there who can I just say, we're musical theater nerds. That's who we are. Ever since I was 6 years old, I was doing musical theater, and I had a bunch of friends move from our little town east of San Diego to, NYC after high school to pursue a career on Broadway. And I know that it is no joke. So, how did you get on Broadway? How did it go down? That is just so cool.
Oh man, I am like it's crazy. I'm the wrong guy to ask that to because honestly, like the way that it landed was just like right place, right time. Kind of just said yes to everything. I would never say no to an opportunity. I was at the PCLO, Pittsburgh Civic Light Opera, doing A Christmas Carol, and our music director was like, "You really should just like go audition for an agent in New York." And I was like, "Yeah, right. Like, I would never do that. Like, I'm a small town kid from West Virginia. The nearest theater was Pittsburgh, so we'd travel an hour, to go do theater. And so the thought of like traveling 8 hours to New York is crazy. We thought at the time, and then it became our lives. And so I auditioned for an agent. I stayed with that music director for a weekend. I actually came because it was a Christmas Carol. It was like during our run on like an off day, an off weekend. And he was like, "I'm going home. Come with me. Bring your dad." And I also brought my brother. And we went to New York. It was like 3 days before Christmas, like the actual Christmas holiday, and so a bunch of these agencies were closed. So we knocked on a bunch of agencies that he gave us the list to. He was like, "Here are some of the best agencies in New York to start out with. You should just go see if they're willing to talk to you, or maybe you can audition for them on the spot there. It should be slow during this time of year." It was super slow, and no one was open except one agency. It was the Clear Talent Group at the time, and they're still kicking in one of the greatest agencies here in New York. Um, and Clear Talent Group, I went in and they were like, "Who do you have an appointment with?" And we were like, "We do not. We just knocked on the door. Wanted to say hi. Hope you're well."
Hope
And
you're well. Hire me.
yeah, exactly. Like, what's up? What do we do? How does this work? I'm super, super green. Like, we had no idea. I didn't even know like Broadway was like a career, all the things. So
Wow.
yeah, I didn't really know much. I mean, A Christmas Carol was like my first uh production that I was ever in. And my sister was only in one before that. And so neither of us had much experience at that time. And yeah, so we went and I auditioned for her. She was like, "Can you sing a song for me?" I was like, "Yeah, I can sing a song. Like, you want me to sing like Adele? Do you want me?" She was like, "Do you know any musical theater songs?" And I was like, "Not really, but maybe." I was like, "What are like musical theater songs?" And she was listed, and I was like, "I feel like I know a couple from like Oliver and Les Mis and like random things here and there." And I was like, "Well, I'm in a show right now and I'm playing Tiny Tim and I have to sing Away in a Manger. Like, should I sing that?" And she was like, "Yeah, sing that. If you know it, and well, whatever." And then she also gave me monologue, and it was a cold read that I had to do. And yeah, she was like, "Wow, thank you so much." I also had done a short film at the time, so I left that with them. Um, and it was just a local thing. And so I literally left and we walked a couple blocks to Familia Pizzeria here in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And while we were eating our pizza, they were like, "Can you come back? We'd love to sign you." And I was like, "If you sign me, can
What?
you sign my siblings too, just for the fun of it?" And they were like, "Yeah, whatever." And then 2 weeks later, I had an audition for Mary Poppins and came up, saw Mary Poppins, which is the first Broadway show I saw, and, the night before my audition, and then a couple weeks later, we were heading out to Canada, actually, to start rehearsals for Mary Poppins on tour. So, yeah, crazy. Long story
That
short.
is wild. No,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's the best story ever. That is so cool. How old were you when that was happening?
I was 9 at the time.
9.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
not like super young. I mean, you know what's going on at that point when you're 9. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
great. I mean, you
Yeah.
kind of know what's going on.
No,
Like
totally.
yeah. That's amazing. Okay, wow. I mean, that's such an inspiring story. I feel like for our listeners too, our viewers. I mean, there's so many young people ask us like, how do you get started? How do I do this? How do I get from here where I am now singing in a choir to a Broadway show or a television show or a movie? And it's like you really just have to put one foot in front of the other and just walk toward a goal, because you don't know how it's going to go down. Like you said, your story is so unique. Everybody's story is very unique in the entertainment industry. There's no one way to do anything.
100%. And the other thing I'll say is like a million times, I can't stress this enough. So much of my career is me never like shutting out an opportunity. Like if I would have never said like, no, that's crazy. Like I can't go to New York for a weekend. Like it was always kind of just like, yeah, let's just try it. And like whatever happens, like just for the fun, just for the plot. Like you never know. And if we didn't take that step or that, risk in putting yourself out there, it's like none of it would have happened. So, you know, don't be shy, I guess.
Who was your Mary Poppins? Because I just saw the original Mary Poppins down in Orlando just now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who was the
I
so my Mary Poppins was on tour. It was Madeline Trumbull and Conoche Creel was our Bert.
okay.
Um, yeah, great people. But I was on the second national, so probably not the same one.
Okay.
But yeah,
That's
it's a
fascinating.
small circle that
It's so small.
Poppins.
That's why I was, yeah. So I figured maybe she
Yeah.
like popped in at some point.
Yeah, because they always recycle. So like when we were out on tour, we were actually like my mom left the tour to then do the Broadway production. Like they reuse the same people as much as possible, or even like call people back in when their contracts expired, whether someone gets injured or something like that. So it is a super small circle, and you kind of get to know everybody, which is crazy because it's such a big production and it was on for so many years. But yeah, it was pretty unbelievable first experience to say the least.
Yeah, that's incredible. Okay, so we've been talking a lot about your start and how you got started. Tell us what you're up to now, and then also tell us all about Take a Bow. And yes, that rhymed.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow, where to start? So right now I'm currently in school. I go to Pace University. I'm actually getting my master's while I get my undergrad. So it's been quite a ride. I'll be graduating in 4.5 years with my bachelor's and my MBA. And I'm doing business for both of them. My undergrad is arts and entertainment management. And then my grad is just general business, just a general MBA. And so it's been a time, and it's been taking up a lot of my time, a little too much of my time for what I want to do creatively. But I know that it's worth it, and I know that as soon as I graduate, like I'll never want to go back to school because I'll just want to like stay in the fast lane of work and creating. So I figured let's just get it out of the way. Um, and on top of that, I am still auditioning. I actually just filmed something a couple weeks ago. And trying, the actor's life, just gigs here and there throughout the year. And of course Take a Bow and Young Entertainment. So Take a Bow is it's super Broadway focused because a lot of my career was on Broadway and my love is musical theater. And so a lot of my friends are in that world too. So it's just me chatting with friends or former castmates. I've been fortunate enough to have people like Bowen Yang on, Ben Platt, Kelly O'Hara, Audrey McDonald. These are Broadway people. I don't know if everybody like knows all of them, but they're very special people to me. Super high talent people, and it's just we have them on to really get to know them as humans because as audience members, when we pay to go see them, we often get to know them as someone else or a character. So it's cool to just allow them to take a bow for themselves and who they are, to get people to understand a little bit more about their journey and who they are as a human and their likes and dislikes and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Take a bow. So we're plugging Eli's podcast right now. Make sure you go give it a listen. That is so cool, and I love how you put that. It's allowing the talent that you have on your platform to take a bow
Daniella,
and express more about themselves.
What's it called? He did with, like, we have like a crossover person with Julia Lester. Like, she's just
Oh,
yeah, and she's just incredible.
We've had a few. Josh Colley too. Josh is the man.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah,
about that
from
one.
Descendants. He's
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh,
Great
he's so
friend of
great.
mine.
He was amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's so cool. How fun is that? So here at Young Entertainment, what we do is we interview young stars, whether they're rising stars or a lot of them are quite famous. For example, Kylie Cantrell. We recently interviewed her. We often interview Liamani Segura, who is just, oh my gosh, I feel like every time I look at her Instagram, she's working on some new project.
She just announced a new song today, I think.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, it's like,
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
amazing.
I know, I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh.
That'll be great.
So yeah, she's so talented. That girl, I remember in our interview, she would just like sing for me on the spot. And I know like a lot of people don't like to do that. And I was like, oh, this girl is so talented. And she has like the best heart ever. I'm obsessed. Anyway, all that to say, what we do at Young Entertainment for everybody listening is we interview these young stars. And so Eli does some of our interviews. So Eli, we wanted to ask you a few questions, but what are some of your favorite moments or even one favorite moment that you've had from a Young Entertainment interview that you've done?
Oh, I love this. Honestly, in Mordechai, you'll probably like love this answer because I think you loved it just as much as I did. My conversation with Jordan Doww was an absolute blast. It was just so easy to talk to him. I feel like we related to a lot of stories, but also like it was cool to like learn it from him. Or even have like in some of these interviews, it's like it brings back memories for me, right? Like, so I don't know, it like triggers a memory from like inside out. And it's like, oh yeah, core memory unlocked, like something funny like that. And I feel like I had so many of those with Jordan. But honestly, in general, like my favorite thing from doing these is just talking to creatives and learning everybody's different process and how there is no like secret formula. It's literally just like everyone, when they really realize that like they can be themselves and they can have a process that works for them, just hearing that reminder is super important as like an artist and a creative. And I feel like those are something that I learn every time that I have an interview for Young Entertainment.
Yeah, that's so good. And I know Mordechai specifically wrote down a note to ask you. So I'm going to let you take that question.
That was just like an unbelievable thing when he talked about the water.
It was funny to kind, and that's one of the moments where I was saying like, oh my God, that brat memories for myself. I did a movie for Amazon Prime called Benji the Dove, and I was stranded on a raft in one of the scenes. I was Manny, and like the raft was sinking, and then I had to like drown, and they had to like film it. And he was talking about stunt doubles. He was talking about the EMS and like the people on set, that the lifeguards and all those added crew that have to be there on those days. And I was like, oh my God, like, yeah, I totally forgot about those. And that those days are like super planned out, super like down to a T. If lunch goes a minute over, we're all stressed out, type of thing. So it was fascinating to hear his story and his take on that kind of day.
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, he did it in two. I mean, now he's doing it in the show, but he did it in a film also where he was literally like underwater and he had to basically like he couldn't breathe. Like he had to like hold his breath. And it was just insane, like listening to that and hearing him talk about it. I was like, it was just incredible. It was so fascinating. And especially the fact that they have like on the way home, they have like specific days, and like it and they actually use a real pond, which I thought they were going to use like a pool, and then, they just have like a what's called
Filter or something.
something, yeah, like to get it to look like a pond.
I would be so sketched out if it was a real pond, like you're saying. Like, oh my gosh, can someone please check in here first to see what's in? Because I saw that video that Jordan posted on TikTok, and like the water is dark and murky, and I'm like, what is in that water?
100%. And I'm someone who has like severe like germophobia. Especially like since COVID, like I've gotten super like, oh my God, are your hands clean? Like type of thing. I have like the OCD where my closet's color coordinated. Like I'm so particular about like the smallest things. So like when it comes to something like that and it comes to like an on-set day, it's like, oh, I gotta push all of this away and I gotta suppress this somehow because I just gotta come in and do a job. And I felt like Jordan had some of that, but he didn't really want to mention it or like admit it because he was like, I've done it too much where I'm just too deep into it and, gotta do it for the take type of thing. So I totally got it.
And this is perfect to ask you right now. So, is there anything that you've personally learned from chatting with any of the talent, whether it's in one of your own interviews or an interview that you've done for Young Entertainment that you've taken into your own career? Because I know personally, every time I interview one of these stars, I learn something new. And it is just so fascinating because, like you said, everybody does everything a different way.
100%. I think that I'm always looking for some a new process, especially when you're in a drought and it's like, all right, I got to change something up. So even today, I actually had an interview with Brooke, who's going to be in F, Marry, Kill. And she was talking about what she does to keep track of where they are in the story, even though they film, out of order. And it was something that I don't know if I should give it away because it's like going to come out soon, but it was a process that I would have never thought of. And I actually do that process for a different reason. So to hear the reason that she did it for, was super fascinating. And it seemed like it was, you know, I don't know, because I think that's one of the hardest things as to be an actor. It's like, oh, and this scene was this right after my fight with my sister, and am I still mad at her? Or like, what's that, going, even though we filmed that a month ago or haven't filmed it yet, like it's always, you're always guessing and you have to like look back. And, sometimes you can't always look back because of you're moving around or you just gotta go. No time to waste. So, her process, and people's process in general, I think is something that I learned. I also learned, a lot about, like the relationships with like the directors, I think are something that I've really taken away. I think it's, especially as a child actor, it's easy to not be afraid of your director, but like in a way, there's like an intimidation factor, and it's like, oh, this is like the boss I have to impress. I have to, I want to do good, and it's like if you can just take a second, remember that they're human as well, and they're a collaborator, on this entire process. They're there to help and not like, if they give you a note, it's not because you're doing a bad job. Like it's because,
Yeah.
they're trying to help and tell the story in a different, better, whatever type of way. And you're all working towards the same goal. So, I think hearing those relationships and those stories, really, I learned a lot about that and like the relationships that you can have on set if you
Okay,
allow
I love
yourself
that.
to have.
Yeah, that's great. So what would be for anybody listening right now, what would be your favorite Young Entertainment interview? Whether it's one that I've done, you've done, anyone's done that you want to tell our audience listening to this podcast, like go watch this interview on YouTube because you just feel like it was so informative or just like OMG or whatever.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. First of all, there's so many. I'm always obsessed with the one that you do with any of the Descendants characters, or the actors because they're always good, right? They have such great personalities. They're theater kids, so I get their energy and, all of that. I love that. My personal like the ones that I've done is definitely like Jordan. I kind of alluded to that earlier. And
Okay,
then
so everyone go watch our interview with Jordan Doww on YouTube because it was really good.
it's
Yeah.
honestly gonna be like the quickest 30 minutes of your life. Like I was so upset when I saw like the clock and I was like, oh my God, like I have to let you go. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Like you type of thing. I
Yeah.
literally felt like I could have talked to him for hours. It was awesome.
Cool. Okay, cool. Yes, everybody go watch that one. And yeah, I watched a lot of it too because I was doing some editing and it is so good. And his cute little intro that he decided to do, like he took that very literally. He was like, "Oh, you want to pretend like we're FaceTiming?" He went into like method acting mode for that.
It's brilliant. And that's like that is the perfect like little tease of like that it that kind of energy kind of just like continued throughout and it started with him just being like from the get-go, oh, if we're doing this, let's go all the way. Like let's do this
Yeah,
full out. And he really just
totally.
opened up about everything. It was awesome.
So I do want to ask you for masterclass moment, anyone listening who wants to get into acting or musical theater, what is like, just in general, what do you feel like is your number one either acting tip or entertainment industry tip? Only one, if you could give one that you feel like is the most powerful, hard hitting, and has helped you the most in your career, what tip would you pass on?
Yes, and is so important. It's like yes, and in the sense of a improv, game and like acting and collaborating with castmates and scene partners, etc. But also just like in life, like just try everything. If it's the smallest, like if you're in a community theater show or your high school show or your middle school show, like do it, like have fun because those people around you and those other creative individuals will be around you for the rest of your life. So make those connections, make those friendships, continue to, you know, exercise your creative muscles and you'll be fine. Just try everything literally in every sense of the word and just continue to say yes and try not to have a closed mind at all. Always stay open minded.
And even like, not to bring it back to Jordan Dow, but he was talking about how when he was telling the audience, he was, when you interviewed him, he was saying like, just audition anyway and don't be so stressed out about what choices you make as the character and how you play the character. He was saying that he made complete opposite character choices for his audition for young Colton. He found out later in the callback that Colton was supposed to be played a completely different way, but they still loved him from his audition and they still called him back. And so it's just a sign to go for it and do it anyway. And who knows, you could still book the role even if you make different choices.
100%. And that goes back to like this industry is so small in the grand scheme of things. It feels so large because it is, but it isn't, just like in every world. Somebody that knows somebody else that like knows you, or knows someone that like is looking for someone like you. So it's just so important. Like he said, you don't know if that casting director has another role that could be perfect for you. Like never say no to an audition. Always just put yourself out
Yes.
there if you can.
Yes, that's so good. I love it. Okay, so we could sit here all day asking you so many things, but we kind of need to wrap this up really quick. Give us in 10 seconds or less. Your biggest career achievement so far or your favorite career achievement so far?
Oh wow.
I love your
Ah,
reaction, by the way. This is
oh
great.
my goodness, that's so hard.
Yeah.
My favorite career achievement would probably be um performing at the White House, I would want to say.
Wow, that's pretty
Um
epic.
yeah, I don't know.
What
That's a
did you
hard
perform
question.
there? Just tell
So
us really quick. What did you do there? Yeah.
Yeah, so I was in Finding Neverland on Broadway, and
Okay.
so, at the time, it was Thanksgiving, and the Obamas were in, the office at that time, and they obviously supported the arts a lot. So on top of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, they also did a Broadway at the White House on Thanksgiving. And we went and performed for the Obama's family and so many other incredible people. So it was crazy. And to do it with like Matthew Morrison, who is the Glee star, Laura Michelle Kelly, who was one of the original Mary Poppins, and like all of these legends that I've looked up to growing up was the cherry on top.
Oh my gosh. Okay, now I'm starstruck. I think one day I was about to say we need to interview you, but that's what we're doing right now. That's what we're doing.
We'll have Eli
Okay,
back. We'll have
amazing.
Eli back.
Oh yes, we need to have Eli back for sure. Okay, great. Basically, Eli, do you want to go ahead and plug yourself?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Plug your,
Like
yeah, plug your
socials or whatever.
socials. Yeah, where can people catch up with you?
Yeah, so you can find me anywhere on @Tokash_Eli. That's my Instagram, TikTok, and that's really all I do. I don't really do TikTok. I just like to scroll. So Instagram is really the only thing, I guess.
Thank you so much for joining us. This was such a fabulous conversation. And also, we have to shout out Young Entertainment ourselves. So make sure you go follow us on Instagram, everyone, YouTube, and TikTok. Make sure you follow, like, and subscribe. And don't forget that if you are an aspiring actor or actress out there and you want to learn how to get an agent that will get you auditions for TV, film, even musical theater, we have a how to get an agent guide that is linked in our bio on Instagram. Thank you so much for joining us, Eli. We can't wait to have you back. And you have been listening to the Young Entertainment Podcast.